Today we're going to do something to start some more intensive study of comparison. Great, y'all can read it now. Zip it. If you have an idea of what this means, raise your hand. Preston?
Study of something is methodology.
Okay, so you're breaking it down. So you know, typically when you have ology as a study of something, or you're learning about it, okay? What's that first part? Brady?
I think it's ants or insects or something.
Good guess. Kind of sounds like that. Okay? Simply,
Study of words.
That's what I said.
okay, or parts of words.
So it's like
All right.
reading
There we go.
Why is there an ant?
Most academic vocabulary has roots or affixes that have some origin from Greek or Latin cultures. We're going to try to do a more systematic approach, and what I want you to be able to do is to possibly test out. There's research that's been done, and if you focus on 6 steps with certain vocabulary, doing those types of activities in that order, then it's supposed to help you get it into long-term memory. So what we've designed is lists of 12 or 13 roots or affixes. So it could be, what are affixes?
That's like in the middle of the word.
Not exactly. It does have to do with words. Okay, think about fixes. Does that connect to anything else with parts of words? Angelica?
A suffix.
Okay, so we've got a suffix. And what else? Whitney?
Prefix.
Prefix. And even with that, okay? Pre means before, right? And suffix, I always think of it as the second half of the word. Okay, so ing, some of those endings you're familiar with. Well, there are Greek and Latin affixes, so beginnings or ends of words also. Okay, so we're going to do roots, but we're also going to include affixes in this. What I've done is we have multiple choice tests, and you're going to do those through Mastery Connect. So what we're going to do right now is everybody's going to start with test 1. If you score 12 or 13 out of 13, then you're going to move on to the second list. Okay? So I want to get to where you're at a list that will challenge you. Okay? And then we will go through the procedures for those 6 steps and what you're going to do to help you to get those into long-term memory. Because once you know roots, remember how we knew what this suffix meant for the most part, so it helped us to try to figure out what that word was. Once you get all these roots and affixes, down, then you're going to be able to figure out more and more terminology as you're getting into harder and harder classwork, especially in science and in math, social studies, all those areas.
Language arts.
What'd you say?
Cooking.
Part of life and sweet things.
I live in life.
All right. Any questions about what we're going to be doing? Okay, since our quizzes are 13 questions, 12 or 13 questions, you need to make sure that you have your Mastery Connect sheet where it's got the 20 answer options. Okay? If you have a dark, small, dry erase marker, you could get that out now. I do have some up here that we'll hand out. Who wants to hand these out? What you will get is a sheet that I was trying to save paper, and so the first test, that's indicated by number 1 is on one side, and the second test is on the other side. So, what you'll do is, oops, when you're done with test 1, bring your bubble sheet up, we'll scan it, you'll get your results right away. If you get 12 or 13 out of the 13, then you're going to go on to test 2 right away. Okay? I have up to 4 tests ready if we go that far, but I hope this is going to be challenging some of you, and we're going to find a good spot for you to start studying. Okay? As soon as you get your test, you may begin. Okay, when you're scanning, I only want 2 people up here at a time. Okay, while you're waiting, you could get out an SSR book and read until you have a chance to get up here. All right, any questions? Let's begin. I'd prefer you not write on these papers. If you really need to, go ahead, but I'd like to conserve the paper. Okay, gentlemen, please go to the ELA. Now, what I'm going to hand out to you is basically the same type of vocabulary ranking that you do on your regular vocabulary sheets when we go to do some of our texts. So, you're going to have your root or affix listed first, and then it's got your ranking. Never heard of it before, may have heard of it, take a pretty good guess of it, or I could teach it. Okay, so what I want you to do is go through and rank your affixes and roots that you have and see how well you know them. Then, see if you can come up with examples of words that use that particular affix. Okay, are you done ranking your words? Okay, does anybody have some examples? Are you participating? Borrow. Wait till we go through the directions? Yeah. Or is it an emergency? All right. Take a break from what you're doing. I'm going to do some instruction about the next steps that you're going to do. because basically you can set your own pace for the most part. Okay? So let me go over directions, then we'll set you free to get creative and hopefully get these roots and affixes into your brain. Alright, I'll wait till I see everybody's pencil down. Thank you. Go ahead and flip your paper over. Alright, the next step after you evaluate your knowledge of the words, or I'm sorry, roots or affixes, what you're going to do is create representations. Okay? So something more along the lines of a visual for these roots or affixes, and you're going to connect those to a word. So, step 1, fold another sheet of paper in half 3 times, which basically means you can use the printer paper or notebook paper if you want some lines. You're going to fold it until you have 8 sections on one paper. So then you'll use both sides and take a rectangle for each of your roots or affixes. Okay? You can draw lines to show the divisions. But you're going to create a representation of each of your 13 terms. Make sure you put your name and block number and the date and the list number in the upper right hand box, because we're going to, from today on, we're going to have people at different stages. So I need you to make sure that you had it correctly, otherwise I won't be able to evaluate how well you're doing with this process. So step 3, take each root or affix, write it in the upper right hand of each box with its meaning, okay, and you have your lists with the meanings on it, okay? And then you're going to do one of the following for each root or affix. You can illustrate it. You could draw something that would represent it. So you could do like a cartoon to represent it. You could draw a comic that depicts it, okay? The second one there, you could make it symbolic. You know, we talked about symbolism with poetry. What would represent that term, okay? Any questions about the representation part? All right, and then we have a tic-tac-toe. So after you create some sort of visual representation, then you're going to do other types of work with it. You are going to select 3 from those options listed there, and it needs to make a line. If you really want to get adventurous and do 4 corners, that's fine, but I'm guessing you're going to stick with 3 in a row. One of those options, if you look in the top row clear to the right, is creating puzzles of each of the roots or affixes. You will get puzzle pieces like this. Obviously you'll need more than one sheet. And you're going to create puzzles of your words, your roots or affixes, and then you'll end up putting them together. So it gives the directions on there. One of them is sorting the roots and affixes. So you would take a list of them and you would put them in some sort of categorization that you would select. How do they fit together? What are the differences? Why would you group all these together? So you're analyzing all of them. Creating a poem, a comic strip, analogies. Okay, if you choose to do that, I can help you to set the structure. We've done some of that work in A&I, but those of you who are stream students, I can show you about those too. So, tic-tac-toe. If you need more details for those specific activities, let me know. Printed papers over there, use sparingly. Okay, don't waste a lot of it. Then, on the discuss part, okay, this is the next step to help get those terms into long-term memory. Share your representations with, and then you have to have someone sign that you went over what you created on the computer paper in those rectangles. Okay? Go over it, discuss it. Then you have to share your tic-tac-toe activities with a different person. Now, what if you have someone at a different list level? Is that okay to share it with them? It's okay. Might be review for them, but it's going to be most productive if you're discussing with somebody else at the same list level that you are. Then you actually play the games. You will play you'll use the puzzles. Another option is I've got the cards made for I have, who has. Many of you played that before, vocabulary? Probably so. You can play that with 3 or 4 people, but the challenge is to get those in the correct order. Okay, and I've got an answer key so you can check yourselves when you get to that point. Alright? I just gave you a lot of instructions, but you have this with you. Okay? So, your first step, fill out your chart. When you think you have that done, I will give you other examples of that root or affix being used, that you can add those in. I want you to try on your own, and then you can add to it from the list that I'm going to give you. And I would say go ahead and start as soon as you can on your representations so we can keep moving. All right, Brady? Okay, agenda.
For remember step 4, can you do any 3 of this for different ones? Like you can do illustrate one and can you draw?
Oh, okay. Can you do one of them for each of the affixes or roots? So you can have a variety on your own, on one paper. Good question. Yes?
You want us to put the examples on this side?
Yeah, try to create your own examples, and when you've tried as best you could, then you can come up and get a list of examples that I have for you. Please take a moment before you go. Get your name on every piece of paper you received, because you have a list with the meanings, you have a list of examples, you have your activities sheet that tells you what you're needing to do. You also have your representation that you should have that headed correctly already. If you happen to still have one of the tests, make sure you bring it up here, stick it on this desk before you leave. So, please secure these and bring them back tomorrow. We're going to do some more time with this. Yeah, those are yours. Okay, enjoy block 4. Alright, so I'm going to put a word up here. We're going to see how well you can figure it out. Okay?
Rayburn.
Don't talk to me. This is all in your nostril. Not out loud. Just give yourself some think time. See what word you can connect to it that would have similar parts. Hands down. Now, who has an idea of what this could mean, or at least part of it? Okay. All right. Whisper at your tables to see if you can come up with any ideas what it might mean. Elle, you can join in if that.
What's heavy? Maybe it's a or half your body. Maybe you're able to half your body. When you divide
There are some common terms. Okay, see if you can come up with one answer for your pod. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, select a spokesperson for you. All right, everyone be to a 1. Okay, what do you guys have to say about this word? What could it mean?
We think hemi means half, so like a hemisphere is the.
Okay, so half would be the first part. Okay? Did anyone have something different for the first part? Okay? What did you guys come up with at Simon's table?
The ending, the PLEGIA,
Uh-huh.
it was like a disease or something.
Okay, so some sort of disease. Did you have something to connect it with?
Bubonic.
So that plagia made you think of plague. Okay? Shh. No good chance. All right, how about this corner back here? So you think some half and some sort of disease?
We don't think much about the disease. Maybe the half.
The half you agree with?
Plagia.
What about plagia? Okay. All right, what do you guys have?
You thought that hemi meant like a quarter? And then
A
like
quarter.
a disease?
What made you think quarter? Okay, so you're thinking semi's half, so maybe hemi is something different.
I think hemi's a part. Hemi can be.
I'm gonna put those notes down.
3/6.
So quarter. All right, these are just our brainstorm ideas. All right, what about the plagia part? Did you guys have anything for that? Sickness or disease? Okay.
I was like gonna say like hemisphere, like 4 parts, so you're only being able to, like, I said that like paraplegic, so it goes with that, so you'll be only like able to move like a part of your body.
Okay, so plegia you connected with paralysis. Okay, and you kind of went with
Yeah, part or
Okay.
half.
half or part of it. What did you guys discuss over here?
That hemi is part of a whole and that it's basically a disease.
Okay, how about you guys? Pretty much the same. All right, so have you ever been to a doctor's visit and they tell you something and you're going, I don't even know what that word is? Have you ever been there? Okay. The more roots and affixes you know, the better you can figure it out. Yes, you can ask questions and you should, but you'll be further ahead. Excuse me. This actually means, hemi does mean half, okay? Because your hemispheres are usually east or west and north and south. Okay, so it's cutting the earth in half. So when you connect it to something you know, like hemispheres, you can do it that way. Yes, we have like northeast, southwest, but ultimately a hemisphere is actually dividing it into half. So plagia does mean paralysis. So it's where you have paralysis on half of your body. So it could be divided down the center. Some people who have strokes would have paralysis on one half, depending on where the stroke happened in their brain. What we're going to do today is continue with your activities. Okay, I have copies of I have who has. Now, those of you doing list number 2, because of the list that you have, I have who has doesn't work very well. Because you have so many that have similar meanings. So Declan, your group was talking about, well, if semi means half, then hemi can't mean half. Actually, a lot of affixes could have the same meaning. Okay? All right, so does anybody have any questions about the 6-step process you're doing and how to get through all that? I have copies of the puzzle pieces when you get ready to do that task. Okay? We will work today and tomorrow to get us a strong boost. And then beyond this, we're going to focus 1 day a week on Greek and Latin roots. So it will be up to you what pace you go at. okay? The people who get furthest, by the end of the school year, I'm gonna reward, okay, haven't decided what. But it's your benefit to know more and more roots and affixes. Huh? How do you know how far you get? What list you're on? Okay? So once you have completed the task and you're ready to do the post-test, and we'll do the post-test. Those of you who weren't here yesterday, I'll see you once we get everybody else going. Any questions at this point about what you need to do?
So we aren't able to move up and go with?
Yeah, you do not have to wait for the rest of the class, okay? So I do want you to go through those 6 steps because they've proven that those are the best ways to get those terms into long-term memory. You could just memorize, but we want it to stick longer than the next couple of weeks. Okay? So I haven't decided what day we're going to do this on a consistent basis. I was kind of thinking Thursdays. Okay? So yeah, we're doing this now and tomorrow to get a good start. So potentially tomorrow some of you could take the next test. Take the post-test and move on to the next list. Huh? You've got a lot to do, so we'll see. Okay, let's get started.
Well, for anterior, I drew earthworm. I was like, because we learned this in science last year, and you had cut the anterior or posterior, whatever. So I drew that. So there's pictures. Then for bi is 2, so I put bipolar, and so 1 minute she was happy, and the next she was all mad. I don't know what that means. Then circumference, I took a circle, and I knew you do a radius times 2, which is the diameter, then diameter was pi, so I just wrote that out.
I had to circumnavigate when he's I don't know if this is right or not, but I have a person screaming go left, no go right and stuff. I don't know what circumnavigate means, but I know what navigation is. And for bicycle.
Okay, well let's go back to that. So circum means round. So if you're navigating around something, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Usually you hear that term connected to going around the globe. If you circumnavigate the globe. Did you watch the CNN News this morning?
Yeah.
For the students? It was talking about the goal is to have this solar plane travel all around the world. It's solar powered. So they would be circumnavigating around the world.
So I've been doing the whole about clocks. I don't know why.
You went with a theme about clocks? Okay.
Yeah. It's just kind of what I stuck to. So I have this here, which I finished, all about clocks basically. And then I worked on the poem, and then I'm working on a comic strip, and next I'll have to do a puzzle.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm making the puzzle right now.
Okay, and what do you have to do that?
I have to write the root on the sideway line, and then I have to write the meaning in each of these small ones, and then I'm going to have to write examples in each of these small ones.
Okay, and what's the long ones for?
Huh?
What are the long ones for?
Long ones are for sentences.
All right, you're off to a good start.
Means down.
I have D. Who has the root/affix that means half?
I have semi. He means away. I have dis. He was in.
After.
It was the first card.
Wait, what? What means after? I have the affix post. Who has the root/affix? It means bad. I have mal. Who has the root/affix? That means not. I have non. Who has the root/affix? It means before. I win.
No, you don't.
Wait. Oh yeah. Root/and. Who has the first card?
I have the first card.
All right, so you can check your list right there. See if you got it right.
Not able to do it.